Zootopia 2 is the long-awaited sequel to Zootopia, serving as a continuation essentially from where the first movie left off. Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde, they are partners in crime working in the police department. They come across a new case. They discover that a snake has entered Zootopia, which is the first time anyone has seen one in ages. So yeah, the two of them gotta work together to find the snake, figure out what the snake is up to, why it's here, and ultimately, along the way, discover a dark secret about Zootopia. I love the original Zootopia. That's a movie for me that's gotten better and better the more and more I've watched it. I mean, the story's great, the message in it's awesome, the animation's fantastic. I love how it used animals to tell its story in such a very unique way. It was exactly what made Disney special. You see movies like that, and you know to yourself, okay, when Disney commits, they still got it. But there's always a little bit of reservation when it comes to sequels, because you ask yourself, like, okay, is there actually more of a story to be told? Or, you know, it's been so long since we got a sequel. Are you just using this as a way to make quick money because the first one was such a success? Thankfully, though, this actually ended up being a worthy sequel that expands more on the story and the characters in a way that really does work. First of all, by far and away the best part of this movie, what's really going to keep this franchise going, if it indeed chooses to become a franchise, which I believe it will, given how it just made a shit $1 billion over the weekend. Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde, their chemistry is fantastic. You love them both individually as characters, you love the two of them as a team, and what I love seeing in this movie is it really expands more on the dynamic between the two of them. Because in the first movie, they're kind of just forced to work together. They come across each other, they learn about each other, they realize they kind of need one another to solve a case, and it's like, alright, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, and that's that. And then along the way, they realize, hey, you know what, we make a pretty good team. Maybe we should actually work together full time. And in this movie, you see that. But in this movie, you see more of just what their friendship is to one another. And it leads to some moments that are really funny, it leads to moments that are really emotional. Because you see the banter the two have back and forth. They crack jokes with one another. They know how to get under each other's skin. They also know exactly how to touch each other's hearts. It never really gets into like a really romantic level, if that's what you think it's going for, but in a way, you do see how strong their friendship is. Like, the two of them truly mean the world to one another. They just have trouble expressing it, which is completely relatable and totally real. Some people are better at letting others know how much they mean to them. Some maybe want to, but don't know how to show it, or feel scared to show it. I thought that was absolutely awesome. It completely carried this movie. And seeing more of the world of Zootopia, or the city of Zootopia, what would you really consider Zootopia at this point? Well, either way, this movie does expand a lot more on what Zootopia is, so we get to experience more of it. I think that's great. Like, we see a lot more tundras, a lot more cities, or a lot more, you know, sectioned off areas, seeing more where other certain animals go to live and thrive, which is great. It makes Zootopia feel more like this big world. You get to see more different walks of the animal life and seeing how they live, how they function as a society. And I think that's awesome. I'm an animal lover. I've always been fascinated by animals, so seeing just sectioned off areas where certain group of animals kind of need to survive and need to live and need to function, they have that here. I thought that was really cool. And yeah, this kind of goes without saying, but yeah, the animation in this movie, it looks great. And yeah, this being a Zootopia movie, you need a good case, you need a good lead to follow along with. I thought the mystery element in this movie did work. Because once again, it's a case that has a deeper meaning to it. It has something that has this big, like, psychological life lesson that goes along with it, that when you dig deep enough, well, not even that deep, but when you look into it, you see what the movie is trying to express to the audience. And similar to the first one, it's got some twists and turns here and there where you think you know where something's going, but you actually don't. Actually threw me for at least one really good loop where I was like, wow, I didn't see that coming at all. Some issues I do have with this movie, though. Some of the new characters we get introduced to, I wish I got a little bit more attached to them. I mean, Gary the Snake is the biggest one we get attached to. He's voiced by Ke Huy Quan. He's, you know, basically who the heroes are after. You're trying to figure out what his motives are, why he's here. And not that he was a bad character necessarily. I was just kind of hoping that in this movie, him, Nick Wilde, Judy Hopps, they would have formed this amazing, great trio that we could have seen in this movie, walking out thinking like, all right, he's going to be a great addition to this franchise. You know, I can't wait to see more of him going forward. And he works for this movie. He works for the story. I mean, he's essentially the focal point of the story. I just wish he was a little bit more memorable of a character. I wish I could walk out of this movie wanting to see more of him. And frankly, you know, having seen this movie, if we don't see him again, or if we see him in future stuff in a much smaller role, I won't feel like we're getting gypped of anything. That's kind of a disappointment. I was hoping a character like him would have stood out more, especially given how integral he is to the plot. And yeah, like the first Zootopia, this movie has an underlying message to it. You know, it stands for certain, symbolism or certain, prejudices here and there, certain things that for you as an adult are pretty easy to pick up on. What I think the first Zootopia did really well, though, is it being a family movie, the way it conveyed its message in that first movie, I thought was done in such a smart but also simple way that, adults will obviously get it, but kids will too. That message was, don't just hate something because it's different. Don't just assume because, something might appear to be what it is, that automatically means that is what it is. Like, don't let the world tell you can be this. If you can aspire to be this, if you dream of being this, then go get it. And also, don't tell people they can't do something, support people in that sense. This way has a little bit similar of a message, like, don't be prejudiced, don't stereotype, don't just assume that if someone is that, then they are bad. This has that in there too. But the way they go about this one, there's also a much bigger, deeper meaning here that's meant to represent another sort of, I guess you could say, political, content, if you will. And not that it's a not safe message to have in here for kids or anything like that, or it feels like propaganda necessarily. It's just something that I don't know if kids are going to resonate with the message the way it's told here, as well as they did with the message in the first Zootopia. That's just the way I took it. I thought the messaging worked a lot better in the first one than it did here. But all in all, I thought Zootopia 2 was a great sequel. Nick Wilde, Judy Hopps, their chemistry is fantastic. I love seeing them play off one another. Their friendship is awesome. You're rooting for the both of them. A lot of funny moments in this movie. A lot of movie references for that matter, which I appreciated. None of which really ran too stale, which is a good thing. A lot of emotional moments too that'll hit you right there in the feels. Has a good story. The animation is awesome. I love the expansion of Zootopia. Some characters I wish stood out a little bit more. I also think the messaging in this one could have been executed a little bit better. But in the end, this is a very worthy sequel to Zootopia, and the post-credits scene teases that we might get more Zootopia movies along the way. And seeing how successful this one has been, I'd be very much down for another Zootopia movie. I'd like to see where else they could take this franchise. I'm gonna give Zootopia 2 a 7 out of 10, which definitely makes this one worth going to the movies for.
All right, come on, hurry up, Brian. I don't want to miss the movie trivia slides before the movie.
So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video, and as always, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.